Good afternoon. My name is Joseph Lloyd and I source cars for people on a professional basis. Although most of the cars I source are between £1,000 and £5,000, very often I've been asked to show something a little bit cheaper on the channel, and so I came up with No Budget Reviews, the series where we look at cars that you can buy in good condition with an MOT for under £1,000 and you can enjoy driving. We don't film this in an expensive manner, we don't use separate microphones, we don't use fluid head tripods, we don't even use a DSLR, but we do have a lot of fun.
Well, viewers, I hope you can hear me. Unfortunately, the filming location that I'm at today has sort of leaf blowing and strimming and other things going on in the background, which is very, very annoying. But it's been a long time, but here we have a 1996 Daewoo Espero 1.8 CDi. These cars are, well, they're incredibly rare, really rare. I mean, there are less than 20 actually currently taxed on the road in this country. In some of the markets the cars are a little bit more common, but over here they are almost utterly extinct. This one isn't in perfect cosmetic condition. There are quite a lot of issues with it, but it's been saved actually by Jude, who I think has probably supplied the most number of cars to the channel out of anyone. Yeah, we'll have to get inside, viewers, and get out of some of this noise. Right, that should be a bit better. So many of you will have seen on Ian Seabrook's channel that he did another one of these, which is in slightly better condition than this. It belongs to a chap called Lawrence, and yes, we will probably be covering that car on the channel at some point too. Ian Seabrook waited 2 years, I think, to film that one. I've waited 18 months, but my turn is coming at some point. But in the meantime, here's one of the other sort of, I don't know, 17 or so Esperos that are on the road in this country. I won't be able to drive this very far. I'm just going to be able to just put it on a stretch of private road, which is near here, because we don't currently have any tax, but we do have an MOT, which is good, so everything is okay in that respect. The interior styling of this car is very unlike the mechanicals of the car that it's based on, which is a 1980s Mark II Vauxhall Cavalier, which was launched originally in 1981. This design was actually, first of all, offered to Citroën by Bertone, which they didn't want, and so Daewoo took it over and launched the car on the South Korean market in 1990. This is actually a facelifted car. We didn't get the pre-facelift ones over here. And lots and lots of General Motors heritage, such as this switch here that is straight out of the Vauxhall Corsa B. The key that looks very much like it's off, I think, like a Mark II Astra. The ignition switch just there, that I think is out of a Mark III Cavalier, as is the release on the glove box. The gearbox, I can feel, is very 1990s Vauxhall, like incredibly 1990s Vauxhall, because I learned to drive in a Corsa B with some of the lessons I did, and so I know what they feel like, and this feels just like it. Window switches though, and the way you get out of the car are totally different. This weird sort of internal release handle is absolutely crazy. The steering wheel for our market, all cars came equipped with an airbag and an ABS, which is remarkable for a car from 1996. And we've actually got working air conditioning in this one too. There is electric sunroof, but that is sealed up because Just like in so many old cars, the electric sunroof has gone wrong, and that's why I don't like actually filming them. Although people keep asking me to open them, and I just don't like doing it. So if we just, whilst we're here and out of the noise for a second, we'll just switch it on. Beepy beepy. And we've got, I think in this car we have got ABS, so if I just be sure the car is actually neutral, squeaky clutch pedal, and let's see if the ABS light just comes on briefly. Yes, it does. There we go, just on the left hand side there. Should go out in a second, and it does. Yeah, it even gives me a seatbelt warning too. Interesting, right, I don't actually need that on. I think they've stopped doing stuff outside, so we'll just nip outside the car again. Great, it's gone quiet. This car is so typical of the era of design. It's just so reminiscent of where they were just kind of experimenting with aerodynamics, but still not going sort of all curvy. And this car, I think, has a drag coefficient of 0.29, which is remarkable. Cloudy headlamps, of course, have been... what else did you expect? Front fog lamps on this mid-range CDi model. Actually, all three variants of the Espero sold in this country had a different engine, unlike the Nexias, which came with two different power outputs of the same engine. This had both a Family 1 and Family 2 engines. As you can see, the wheel trims of this car aren't actually the standard ones, they're aftermarket. Someone's, well, had a bit of fun with the back end, but we will show the boot badge, which stays up, and let's put the key in. There we go, and it goes back down. There is also an internal release. I just better make sure I put this key somewhere safe. Boot is huge. I think it's 530 litres, which is vast. That's bigger than things like, I don't know, the current Mercedes C-Class and all that sort of stuff. The colour of this car is also really, really nice. I really like it. I like dark green, as you know, viewers. So if we move the carpet just over here, it's got all sorts of random things in here. This side maybe. There we go. Whoops. Sorry, Jude. Nothing's broken. We're just a bit of trims need replacing. Full-size spare wheel, of course. We'll just put that back. The load height is also very good. It's quite a low lip on this. And we'll go round and I'll also show you. And amongst the sort of bit of patina the car has, I'll show you the ski bag. So not only do we have an armrest in here, pull this here as well, this flap, and there's a ski bag. I'm not actually going to pull that out because it's already got a hole in it. I'm just going to put that back. I don't really want to damage that because this car's actually just been sold to someone else. Jude didn't even pay £500 for this, I don't think. It's funny that ultra rare cars sometimes aren't actually worth that much money, but it's the way it goes sometimes. Ashtrays down here. Seat fabric feels really good. It's very typical of the sort of period. This sort of weird assembly of the electric mirror switch and the door handle that's sort of come away. It's really weird. It's like the designers had an absolute field day just going with the littlest, tiniest bits of interior furnishings, and got two little side windows in the rear. It's absolutely brilliant. Headroom's all right, yeah. The headliner on like so many cars from this era isn't actually saggy. It's nice and firm. That's a good decision on their part, even with the Webasto sunroof. And it has got high adjustable seat belts, although the adjuster thing I think has come off some time ago. Let's have a look at that Family 2 engine I was talking about earlier. If this looks like a sort of engine that you find in a Mark II Cavalier, that's because it is. It's a Family 2 engine, in this case a 1.8 litre, developing 95 horsepower. It was possible to get the smaller 1.5 engine in these cars in the GLXi model, which was identical to the one that was used in the Nexia GLXi as well, which developed about 90 horsepower. There's not a lot of power difference between these, although the engine's completely different, totally different design. The Family 1s actually lasted until the mid-2010s, whereas the Family 2s were discontinued, I think, by the mid-90s. Sorry, sort of kind of, you know, later 90s, maybe about 2000. So these didn't last as long at all. You can see in here, if I can just find it, I think one of these is the notorious ABS pump. I think it's probably that. If the ABS pump in your Espero or your Nexia goes, that generally means the car gets scrapped. Another reason the car might get scrapped is the bulkhead split because of the design of the steering. It's a very common problem in things like Mark II, Mark III Cavaliers, Saab 9.3s actually, which were based upon this, the original generation 9.3s and the later 900s. This car's had a brand new radiator put in it as well, which is absolutely fantastic. When you got it, that was a bit of a problem. Right, I think we're going to go for a drive. We're just going to go for a very brief drive on some private road that is near where Jude lives. We won't go very far because we haven't got any tax. But that's okay, because at some point we'll drive the other Espero, and we'll go for a bit of a longer drive. But this will scratch the itch for me, and hopefully for you, for a little while.
Right, viewers, let's deal with this clunky old Vauxhall gearbox, shall we? And a bit of a squeaky clutch. The other engine options available apart from this 1.8 are 1.5 twin cam 16 valve Family 1 unit developing 90 horsepower. This of course is a 1.8 with 95 horsepower. Gosh, this clutch is a bit interesting. Then there was the 2-litre version of this Family 2 engine. Now I've heard different power outputs of this. It's somewhere between 110 and 115 horsepower. One of the things about these cars was the package they came with. 3 years servicing, a 3-year warranty. Gosh, his clutch is pretty funny, this. 3 years servicing, 3-year warranty, and the 3 years VA cover, and also a courtesy car if anything happened, either routine or unexpected. Interesting. The other thing was that in December 1996 they also got 3 years free insurance. So all you had to do was pay for fuel and for tyres if you bought your car between late 96 and early 97. These cars were discontinued actually in about September 1997. There's very few on the R plates at the last ones, and that was replaced by something called the Ganza, which I'm not sure was necessarily a better car than this. I don't really know. Yes, I'll leave that one for you to ponder. It's such a funny thing to sort of drive this and you know, think about the ownership experience of the car at the time. And you know, they were sold through they got a Daewoo motor show where staff weren't on commission, and you know, you could configure a car using a touchscreen. This is in 1995, so quite advanced really for the time. The other thing about it was that the staff weren't even on commission, and sometimes they were just selling them outside Halfords, which is where they actually were serviced. They didn't have their own workshops, and so they had an agreement with Halfords to service them. The first people who bought these Esperos and Nexias also got a free end plate replacement if they bought them in early '95, which is when the cars were launched. They got an end plate replacement in August '95. There are sort of horror stories of quality with these. Electrical systems often failed. There was the ABS pump issue that I've mentioned, thing with the steering rack, and also corrosion. How this car has survived in such clean condition, I mean, I know there's some lack appeal on the paint and things, but actually it's remarkably rust free, and yeah, it's it's pretty good. I've really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to actually driving the other car now, which will be probably about 6 months time, or maybe a little bit more, but you know, I can wait. I've had a little bit of my fix, and I've actually really enjoyed it, despite this sort of quite weird clutch this car's got. Anyway, thank you ever so much indeed for watching this episode of No Budget Review. Thank you again to Jude for providing this car for review, and also to the new owner who also has let me drive this before he takes delivery of it. It's been an absolute pleasure. I do hope you all subscribe for more episodes of the series and other content on the channel. Turn on notifications to be informed of new uploads. And yes, social media links are down below. Just make sure I point it in the right way. Thank you.